Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome back to today's Intelligence Briefing Explainer. I'm your host, kind of like your modern mentor for the day. And let me tell you, we aren't just skimming through today's headlines. Oh no, we are actually decoding the entire architecture of a modern state. We're going to see exactly how all these seemingly random pieces of today's news fit together into one massive, honestly fascinating puzzle. So grab your notebooks, get comfortable, because this is going to be super useful.
Okay, I want you to think about this for just a second. If you were setting tomorrow's UPSC paper, which single story from today's sources would you pick for a massive 15 marker? Would it be the return of a maritime crisis in the Strait of Hormuz? Or maybe the silent revolution happening right now in our college classrooms with female enrollment? Or perhaps the constitutional battle over your digital footprint and the right to be forgotten? It is a tough choice, right? But honestly, these aren't just isolated headlines. They actually represent the three foundational legs of a modern state: energy, data, and privacy. Let's unpack all of this.
Part 1. The Big Picture, Managing the Modern State.
Part 2. The Energy Paradox, Strategic Autonomy in Action.
So, have you noticed the recent geopolitical tensions making huge waves in the news? With the US and Iran exchanging fire in the Strait of Hormuz, which is a massive global choke point, by the way, you'd probably expect total chaos at the petrol pumps everywhere. But, well, here is the paradox. Despite intense global volatility, petrol prices in the United States jumped by a whopping 45%, while in India, they only rose by 7.5%. Wait, how is that even possible when we are literally the world's third largest importer and consumer of oil? It's definitely not just luck, I can tell you that.
The real secret here is our underlying strategy. The data shows that in May, India's share of Russian oil actually hit 40%. But here's the catch. We paid a premium of $46 per ton. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth would we choose to pay more? Well, think of it kind of like a subscription fee for safety. We're paying a bit extra right now to ensure that our supply lines don't get completely choked off when a vital choke point like Hormuz gets blocked. For your GS3 economic and GS2 international relations prep, this right here is the absolute textbook definition of strategic autonomy in action. The state is neutrally securing its energy survival in a super complex world. Makes total sense, right?
Part 3. A Data-Driven Republic, the Silent Revolution.
Okay, moving on. The Education Ministry just dropped the AISHE report, and it shows a staggering 4.5 crore students enrolled in higher education across the nation. That's massive. But here is the truly incredible part. There's been a massive 42% surge in female college enrollment. This isn't just some dry, boring statistic. This is a vibrant demographic shift happening in our classrooms right this very second. It's just so amazing to see.
A really key metric driving this shift is the Gender Parity Index, or GPI, which currently stands at 1.08. To put that into everyday terms, it basically means for every 100 men in higher education today, there are 108 women. Our educational landscape is fundamentally transforming, and the data is right there to prove it.
Now, how does all this connect to the broader role of the state? Well, link this to the recent editorial discussions on the caste census. The overarching theme here is that if a state wants to deliver true social justice, it absolutely needs curated data, not just open, messy lists that lead to incoherent counting. Because if we don't count people accurately, the state literally cannot help them effectively. You have to know exactly who needs the welfare to target it properly. This core concept of accurate data collection is going to be absolutely crucial for your GS2 social justice answers.
Part 4. Silencing quantum noise, the future of tech.
I know, quantum physics sounds super intimidating, but let's just break it down together. The absolute biggest hurdle in this field right now is something called quantum decoherence. Basically, it's the loss of quantum information due to errors or noise in physical qubits, which totally disrupts calculations. Imagine you're building a really delicate house of cards, and a slight breeze just knocks the whole thing down. That breeze is the noise. If you just keep adding more cards, or more qubits, without fixing the breeze, the house just falls even faster. So, to fix this, scientists use error correction. They essentially force multiple imperfect, fragile qubits to work together as one stable, logical qubit. It's literally like gluing those cards together so they can withstand the wind.
And overcoming this brilliant challenge is exactly why India has made a massive 6,000 crore rupee investment in the National Quantum Mission. Why so much money? Well, because whoever figures out how to silence this quantum noise first is going to completely own the future. We were talking about revolutionizing medicine, creating unbreakable encryption, and running mind-boggling climate modeling. Definitely keep this on your radar. It's a huge topic for GS3's Science and Tech.
Part 5.
The digital shadow, privacy, and the law.
So this brings us to our final leg of the modern state, privacy. The Delhi High Court just laid down a truly fascinating framework regarding your digital shadow and the right to be forgotten. The court question here is, why is the right to be forgotten a constitutional issue? Because as the court highlights, under Article 21, your dignity is tied to your data. Just imagine you were accused of a crime, but eventually you were completely acquitted. Should a random Google search still brand you a criminal for the rest of your life? The court says absolutely not. You should have the right to erase that digital shadow and reclaim your dignity.
But at the same time, the state also has to balance this individual privacy with open justice and free speech. It's a really tricky tightrope. So the court's framework neutrally suggests using the least intrusive means. Instead of just deleting an entire judgment, which kind of hurts open justice, they recommend just masking the names of the acquitted parties in public records. They've even given a strict 2-week deadline for legal databases to comply. Of course, enforcement is still a bit of a challenge because of internet mirrors and archives, but this ruling perfectly bridges GS2 polity with the DPDP Act of 2023. It's a fantastic example of our legal system adapting to the digital age.
Part 6, today's study plan. Let's get into some actionable steps.
Listen, if I were sitting right there at your desk today, studying right alongside you, here's exactly how I would break it down. First, spend a solid 20 minutes deep reading that editorial on the Iran situation and strategic autonomy. Then, take just 15 minutes to quickly revise Article 21 and the right to privacy from your notes. Finally, spend 10 minutes solving your 5 daily MCQs to really lock in these concepts. This directly targets the most crucial GS2 and GS3 topics that we just unpacked together today.
Always remember this as you go about your day. Success isn't just about memorizing every single headline. It's really about understanding the invisible systems running beneath them. When you read about oil, don't just see a price tag, see a nation's survival strategy. Stay curious, stay disciplined. What invisible system will you decode tomorrow? I'll see you in the next explainer.